Hello, everybody. I'm Raina from Blue Cypress Books, and welcome to Book Banter. Today, I will be talking to Margie Fuston from her book, Vampires, Hearts, and Other Dead Things, comes out next Tuesday. So it's not quite out yet, but you can always pre-order it. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about vampires in New Orleans because her book, as you can tell from the cover, is mostly set in New Orleans. And I'm going to click the button here and invite Margie onto the screen. Hi!
Hi!
How are you this evening?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm so excited to be here.
Awesome. I'm super excited to talk to you about your new book.
Yay.
Yay! First of all, I want to say to everybody who's watching, if you have any questions or comments or anything, put them in the comments, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube, because those will show up here and we will answer your questions all throughout the episode this evening. So, first of all, tell me how exciting it is to have your first book coming out in 4 days.
Oh my gosh, so exciting. I mean, because you know publishing, it's been 2 years exactly since it sold. 3 years since I actually finished writing the first draft. So it's been a while, so I'm very excited.
It's like this long journey.
Yeah, I want it out there, out of my hands.
Are you ready for that? Are you really ready to the point where you're just because once it hits shelves, it's gone. That's it.
Yeah, it's not mine anymore. So I'm ready for it to be other people's.
So Vampires, Hearts, and Other Dead Things. Give me your one paragraph. What is it? Tell us about your book.
So it is about a girl whose dad is dying from pancreatic cancer. And she decides that her one last shot is to go to New Orleans and find a vampire so that she can become a vampire and then go home and turn her dad and save him from cancer.
All right. And that leads her to New Orleans.
Yes. Leads her to New Orleans.
And we were talking before we went live here, and the term love letter to New Orleans feels like it's a little overused, but you can tell you truly love this city when reading this book. And that was one of my favorite parts, to be honest.
I mean, I truly do. When I first had the idea for this book, I was like, okay, where's this character going to go to search for vampires? And New Orleans was the thing that just that was the city that kept coming to mind. I was like, yeah, it has to be New Orleans. But I had actually never been. I've always wanted to go. And so I went in a group chat with my friends and was like, okay, anyone want to go to New Orleans with me? And they were just kind of laughed at me a little bit. But one friend was like, yeah, I want to go there. And so a couple weeks later, I was really, I was I need to write this book. This is the one. I just feel like this is the book for me. And so I said to her in person, I was like, were you serious? Will you go with me? And she was like, yeah. and so we did. I didn't have the plot or anything. I just had this very desperate character that I couldn't get out of my mind. And then, it just kind of New Orleans just kind of sucked me in and was here's the plot as I was just walking around the city. So.
And I find that so much, that's what New Orleans does. You come here to visit and there's 1 or 2 people. You've been here for a day, 2 maybe, and you're good. You've seen it, you've done it, you're ready to go home. Check the box. I've been to New Orleans, whatever. And the second group is here for a day or 2 and you never want to leave. you're here, you're in love, you're going to retire here, you're going to sell all your things and move here, you might never leave. Like there's you're in one of those camps, and those are the two types of people really that come here. And I feel like you might be more of that second group there.
I definitely have said out loud many times, like I'm going to retire in New Orleans. Like that's where I'm going.
Yes, for sure. So Victoria and her dad, they in your book, they watch vampire movies together a lot before his diagnosis, and then also through his illness. Do you watch a bunch of vampire movies?
I do. I mean, yes, I watch. If there's a vampire in the movie, like I'm there for it. I'm gonna watch it. I don't actually rewatch a lot of shows or movies, but the ones that I do are, The Lost Boys, Underworld, The Vampire Diaries is probably the only show I've ever rewatched more than one time. True Blood, I've watched that one like 3 times. So it's those movies that really draw me in.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about vampires. They're enough like us to be like, you can understand them and relate, but then just enough like, it's not like being a superhero. Like I can't be Iron Man, but with just a few little tweaks, I can be a vampire. And you get a lot of these like same superhero type skills, but if for reasons feels more believable, I don't know why.
Yes. It does feel more believable, and like that's why like originally, like when I was writing it, I was like, why is she so convinced that there are vampires? Because there are like vampires in the world, but they like came out and revealed themselves like 10 years earlier and then disappeared again, so everyone thinks it's a hoax. A lot of people think it's a hoax, but she's one of the people who really believes that it wasn't, that vampires are real. Her friend Henry is in the camp of it was a hoax. It doesn't make sense. But like I did a lot of research ahead of time, and like there are a lot of people online in the comment sections and message boards, like people in our world that believe in vampires. So I just found that interesting, that this could be something that someone fixates on and could kind of show her desperation.
Absolutely. Like I feel it, like it's so easy to play into that, that desperate need to save someone, and with her dad is so sick that she's like just pulling at straws. And you do that. And it just so happens in this world where that vampire straw could be more of an option than it is for us. I can easily see myself going, well, let's just try this one. Let's just try for vampire and see how that works.
Yeah.
And I find myself, and I wonder, what you think too, because like with things like vampires and maybe even werewolves and ghosts and those types of things, it's like, I don't want to rule it out. Like aliens, like I don't, there's not a ton of proof of any of these things, but at the same time, it's just close enough, like just believable enough. Bigfoot, like those types of things where I'm like, I'm not gonna, I'd be hard to say absolutely no.
Yeah, I'm the same type of person. Like, I'm not gonna say absolutely no that there are no vampires, because like, how can I possibly know that? I could say that I did a lot of digging and looking when I was researching, and I didn't find any. Otherwise I wouldn't be sitting here in the sun. But
right.
But yeah, so I'm the same. I don't, like, sometimes my little nephew who's 6, he'll ask me like, do mermaids exist? And I'm like, I don't
Please
know,
don't
kid.
put me on the spot. Yeah, don't put me on the spot with this, especially if it's like your nephew, because you're like, ooh, I don't know what to say to you because I don't want to get in trouble with my sister. I have a nephew too. He's about to be 8. So similar. Like, I'm like, I want to tell you what I want to tell you, but also like my sister, I'm like, why did you tell him mermaids are real? I'm like, well, I mean, I don't know. Wouldn't it be cool? Like, I just said they could be. It's not my fault that he went with yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I started something now because anytime I say something's not, he's like, well, you don't know. And I'm like, oh.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And you don't know you've done that until it's too late.
It's too late, yeah.
They come back with why you don't know, and like, oh, I walked right into that. I built that hole myself. I just dug it, and he went, hey, there's a hole. And now you're in it. Okay, cool. And you said that you're up in Northern California. Are you like redwood country up there?
I'm not in redwood, more like pine tree, oak tree country.
Okay, so do they have, is that Bigfoot country? Because I know like Washington, Oregon woods, that's Bigfoot country.
I haven't heard of any Bigfoot sightings in my area, but
you know what I didn't know? Like a few weeks ago, I was in Blue Ridge, Georgia, visiting family, and there's a Sasquatch museum there. And I was like,
what?
It was in the middle of nowhere. You're driving down this little highway road through the mountains, and then there's this little valley, and there's a Sasquatch museum, and it's like coming up, 1 mile, half a mile, and then there it is, and then that's it. And it's just this little.
Did you go? Because that sounds amazing.
So here's the thing. I wanted to go so bad, but it's like me, my mom, my sister, my nephew. It's like the whole family. We like rent this cabin, and I'm like not gonna take half a day out of the 3 days I get to see my family in the last year, right? Because of COVID.
Yeah.
To be like, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm out to go to that little Sasquatch. And none of them are gonna want to go. So I have restrained myself from going to the Sasquatch Museum 2 years now, but one day.
That's willpower.
It's willpower, right? I did buy in the little downtown. They must have like a club or sightings or something because there's souvenirs. Like I did buy magnets and stickers with Bigfoot on them and the name of the town. And I'm like, I didn't even know this was a thing in Georgia, but
that's amazing.
It is. What I will say, like here in New Orleans, we just have people, I don't know, we don't have there's no vampire. It's weird to say a vampire sighting, like it's Bigfoot. But there is a community of people here that really do, they live in a vampire culture. We do have a lot of that with the history, and there's so many like legends that are around vampires. And then you bring in Anne Rice and, Interview with the Vampire. And right there you have, I think that like her books and the movie really just solidified that sort of all that like sort of legend history that was happening here with modern pop culture. And then it's just like never separated. And that's 30, 40 years. Oh my gosh. I'm not sure when Interview was published. I got to look it up now. When Interview with the Vampire was published, because I'm not 100% sure. 76. Oh my gosh. It's older than I thought it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're looking at 40 plus years of that, and then the movie came out in the 90s. So that's happening all the time here. So tell me about like, what's some of the research that you did for?
Oh yeah. So I wanted to have like places in mind, like, cause when I was going, because she was, has like, 5 days, I think, for the trip.
Right.
So like she wants to have like a game plan. So I was like, okay, so if I'm going to New Orleans and I'm looking for vampires, where am I going to start? What's going to be my first move? So I had done a lot of research into like the myths and the legends, and like the places you would go to if you were hoping to find a vampire. So that's why like one of my first things I did there, which was one of Victoria's first things, was like going to the Ursuline convent, because there's the rumor that they still have vampires in their attic locked away. So I went there, and it's a museum about the nuns. So it's kind of funny because I went with my friend. We walked in to get tickets, and there was like an elderly lady there selling the tickets, and she looked at us and she looked at me and she was like, "This is a museum about the nuns." And she said, "There's nothing paranormal here. This isn't a paranormal tour."
Oh my
and
gosh.
I was like, okay, I'm giving off some kind of like, I want a vampire vibe. Like she could just sense it coming off of me or something.
That's so crazy.
But like my friend is actually an Episcopalian priest, so she was like, "I'm interested in the nuns," and I was like, "Me too." Like, I'm not here for what's in the attic.
Just ignore me. It's fine.
So,
that's so crazy. Like,
yeah. So I actually like got to kind of use that experience, and I kind of like gave that to Victoria and Henry in the book. Like they have a little run-in.
You absolutely did, and that's funny because when you write it in the book, I took it because they're teenagers. They're like 18, and what would two 18-year-olds care about this type of museum? So that's what I thought. But oh my gosh, I can't believe that actually happened to you.
Yeah, so that actually happened, and I don't know what it was about me that was giving off the I'm actually here to look for vampire vibes, but apparently I was.
Oh my goodness. So, when you came to visit, did you stay in the quarter like they do?
I did not. I actually stayed in the Garden District, and then I rode the streetcar down to the French Quarter every day. And then actually, the second time I visited, I did stay in the Quarter. So I've been twice. Once before I wrote the book, and then I went back after I wrote the book, like the next summer. When my book was actually out on submission, I went back because I wanted to just see those places again, like after having finished the book, maybe, look for those details that maybe I missed the first time that I could add in, if it sold and I was doing more edits on it and stuff, because I really, really wanted to do justice to the setting because I was just so in love with it that I was like, I have to pay attention to these details. I have to get everything right. I have to make the reader feel like they are there too.
And so you do. Yeah. You do.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you do an amazing job. It's rare that you read a book from somebody who isn't from here, and they nail it in a way that I think anyone who wants to visit here who has ever visited here will absolutely relate to everything that Victoria and Henry do here, and like that where they go, what they see, what it smells like and feels like to be like in Jackson Square and these, throughout the city. Yeah, I was really like, I hate to say pleasantly surprised, but yes, the truth of the matter is that if you live here and you read a book written by somebody who does not live here, you're instantly looking at it going, okay, what are they going to get wrong? I mean, that's what you do. What are they going to get wrong? And you nailed it. So
thank you. Because that was my fear. I was like, this is just like such a like rich, vibrant, like very specific place. And I was like, I need to work my butt off to make sure that I'm doing justice to it and doing right by it. And so like hearing like someone from New Orleans tell me that I did it, I'm like, yes.
You totally did. So you were saying that you do like vampire movies. What's your favorite vampire movie?
Oh man.
or TV show?
I mean,
do both.
Okay, I love the Vampire Diaries. I love that show. There are things about it that I absolutely hate. Like if you've seen it, oh man, do they do Bonnie wrong over and over again? and I just, yeah, the last season. No. But
I love it. Okay, so I have not seen a single episode of Vampire Diaries, but so you should just skip the last season?
I mean, I actually did skip it for a while, and then I finally went back and like watched it after doing a rewatch of the other seasons. So I think the very end was satisfying, but all in all, the last season was not good.
That happens. There was another show. It's not a vampire show, but was it Scrubs? I don't know if you ever watched Scrubs, but that was one where everyone told me, don't watch the last season. Just don't do it. Just don't do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, whatever. My son and I had watched all of them. It was a show we were watching together, and we got to that last season, and I told him, I was like, everybody's told me just not watch it. And we were both like, well, we're this far in. It's one more season. We missed the characters. Let's do it. 2 episodes in, we were like, we shouldn't have done this.
2 episodes in?
Yeah, it's just not the same vibe at all as the rest of it.
Yeah. And
so like everyone was right. And I would advise that to everyone. Just don't do the last season.
Yeah.
So maybe Vampire Diaries.
I would advise that for the Vampire Diaries too.
Good to know. What about your favorite vampire movie? Do you have a favorite?
Oh, that's tough. I love The Lost Boys. I watched that. Have watched that a lot. Underworld, like, that one just so good. Love the action. That's the one, like, I reference that one a lot in the book too, because it's my favorite. So I kind of made it one of Victoria's favorites. That her and her dad argue over vampires versus werewolves kind of debate. So yes. Yeah, so those are a couple of my my top. And What We Do in the Shadows, I really love that one.
Okay, I have a tab open for What We Do in the Shadows right now because I was like, okay, it's silly and ridiculous, but it's so funny. It's so good.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's hilarious, but there's also like so much heart to it. It's just so good. Yeah.
I love shows like that where they, the characters they come off initially as very flippant or like, when they don't care about anything, but by the end of like every episode, they care about each other. They stick up for each other. They look out for each other. Yeah. Even though they're like heartless vampires who've been alive forever and whatever, they don't care about, I do feel bad for Guillermo though.
Yeah.
if he doesn't become a vampire by the end of that show, I don't know. Like that needs to be like the climactic ending, very, very end, whatever. Just draw it out all the way. It's gonna get canceled. They're gonna do one last few episodes just to wrap it up, and that's the end.
Then it'll happen.
There you go. That's all I need. Don't need to see him as a vampire necessarily, just need to know that it happened for him because he deserves it. He absolutely deserves it. So let me pull this open here. What do you feel like, what's like the most surprising thing to you about like getting your first novel out there, like this publishing process that, you know, you kind of mentioned. It's like 3 years ago, you finished it. 2 years ago, you know, you started the process. Like, what piece of it sort of took you by surprise, if any of it? I mean, I will say that in talking to authors and doing shows like this since COVID started, like similar things, that I've learned a ton of things. Just the timeline in general was very surprising to me.
Yeah, well, I think that I was kind of lucky. Like, I have a good friend who like published before me, so like I kind of watched her go through everything. So like I don't know. I kind of knew what I was getting into in terms of like what happens. How little control you have over everything that happens, how long everything takes. But yeah, so I can't say there was anything I was particularly surprised about, but I mean, I guess, you know, the 2 years did go by fairly quickly. So I'm kind of shocked that I'm sitting right here and it comes out next week. So it seems like a long time, but it actually it went by really fast because you're kind of doing a lot of stuff. You got a million edits to do. So it just kind of, yeah, it goes by pretty fast.
That's a pretty impressive thing to say, considering COVID took like a year of that.
Yeah.
I suppose, though, you didn't have a lot of other things getting in the way of those edits. If you know, things are shut down and you're not supposed to go anywhere anyway, you're like, oh.
I didn't have anything else to do but, like, you know, tweak this book, so.
Oh my goodness. So talking about things you didn't have a lot of control over, is that your title? Like, what was your original title?
That is my original title. Yes.
Yay!
So that title actually came to me like immediately. I had that title before I ever wrote a word of the book. I had the title before I went to New Orleans. Like, I was like, oh, this would be a great title. And I was like, let's build a book that fits that title.
I love this method. This is a great method. We just come up with a title and then build it around that.
Yeah, either I come up with a title and it's like a book snaps into place that goes with that title, or I cannot find the title. So I only just now announced my second book because I've been trying to get a title for that one forever. So
those are your two options.
Yes. So either it's there or it's like months.
I love it. I mean, most books, a lot of times I've heard from authors that, you know, it's one spark, it's one idea, you've got one little bit, and that's what allows you to expand. So you get a title and you just sort of keep going.
Yeah.
So sorry. I do a lot. Anytime that I'm writing, I will title the page, like, even if it's kind of just a what it is. Because it gives me direction. So, yeah. So even if it's not like the actual title of whatever it will be, it'll be like vampire book, you know, or so, like, I have to have at the top of the page, it's like a weird formality.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm sure there's some teacher that I could blame for that.
Probably an English professor.
Right, exactly. At some point they were like, you must do this so that I know who you putting your name at the top with like the date, like way back from elementary school, like the way it is. I'm like, that is in my head. It's just ingrained in there. So I do have a question from one of our booksellers, Jody, and she runs our Instagram page. So her question is that she's seen your beautiful home in the background of your Instagram photos.
Oh,
yeah. And how would you describe your interior design style? And I told you earlier, I love that chair that you're sitting in. So that gives you an idea, everybody.
I would call it cozy, eclectic. Like a cozy. Actually, Kirkus called my book charmingly eclectic. And I was like, that's how I would like describe my house decor.
You should describe, your home decor and your book is charmingly eclectic.
Yeah, and my house actually like kind of matches my book. The pink on the cover, like I have like my fireplace trim painted pink. So and then like I don't have the hard copy, but the color of the hard copy back is like the exact color of my bedroom walls.
Oh, nice.
So it's like, yep, it's that color, like pretty spot on. Yeah,
I love that. Like, okay, so do you think that the marketing team at Simon was like going through your Instagram like Jody did? She's like, oh, wait, like this color is good, that color is good. We put a chair in the front. There's a girl in it. Done.
Let's give her a book that matches her house.
Right? I wonder so much, like being a bookseller and being in a bookstore, constantly seeing all of these new books coming in, like what it's like to be at that table, or just that one guy. I don't know if it's just one person sitting at a laptop designing a cover, or if it's like some sort of committee situation, but it's probably a little bit of both depending on what the book is. But like how they decide on different things. Like some are really obvious and other ones are like, okay, here's some flowers and a title.
Yeah, I feel like I really lucked out with the cover. I absolutely like love it. And I think it fits the book really well as well.
It really does. It really, really does. And if you're from here, you can definitely, if you've from here or you've never been here, you definitely recognize it. But I feel like even if you're not that familiar with New Orleans, it's interesting. It's got all, like, you can see the mausoleum's back, it's just a really intricate cover while still being like easy to spot on the shelf. Like, and you win the the book cover lottery.
Yes.
Absolutely. I'm going to put a link to your Instagram because I can see you guys watching. And if you have any questions, you can type them in the comments and we will answer your questions. You could also just tell us where you're watching from, because that's always fun to see where everybody is watching from. But here is Margie's Instagram so that you also can see that her house matches her book cover.
Yes, I'm waiting for my hardcover copies to come so that I can like pose it with my wall in my bedroom.
I can't believe you haven't gotten them yet. That's crazy.
I know. I'm gonna go, like, my mom like called me and told me that she had the bookstore that she pre-ordered from called and told her that she could come get it, and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna drive up and get it for you because I don't have a copy.
Yeah, we have ours at the bookstore, but since it's not out technically till Tuesday, we usually don't like.
Yeah,
so I think we could maybe possibly, but it comes out on Tuesday, so it's more fun to like include it in your new release Tuesday post.
Yeah,
and get all of that. We keep a little stack of like the brand new books every Tuesday when they come out up near the register, so you can like just walk right in and see the books that we have in that just came out this week, because that's a question. What's new? Well, here's the stack. That makes it easy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So do you have a trip to New Orleans? Do you want to come back to New Orleans? Do you have a trip to New Orleans?
Oh, I definitely want to come back. Like as soon as possible. Like it's the kind of place where I'm gonna come like any chance I get,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely be back for sure.
Are you still like laying low with COVID? Like, are you going out and about at all, or?
I'm still laying low. Not really traveling at all, but dreaming about traveling.
Right?
Yeah.
I haven't planned a real trip The only thing that I've planned is that I told you I was in Georgia with my family at this cabin because we hadn't gotten together in over a year. And so we did our thing. We rented a cabin in the middle of nowhere. And then they come up from Florida. And we go over from Louisiana. And we kind of like are able to see each other and then like go back our separate ways. And so it's just really us. We don't really get out and about with people that much, which is another reason I should have driven by the Sasquatch Museum and not gone in. So
yes.
I did. So Hope is watching from Austin. Hi, Hope. And she's scrolling through your IG photos as we're talking. So now she also knows what the inside of your house looks like and that it matches your book cover.
Yay.
And the internet is weird like that.
I'm so glad that people like my house because I'm just like, this is just like a random mix of things I like.
It's so true. And you don't realize like what anyone is going to gravitate towards. I've taken pictures and posted them, on my Instagram and stuff. And people will say something about like what's hanging on the wall behind me. And I'm like, but it's about this book. The post is about, the post is supposed to be like about the book. And they're like, oh, look at that little cat. And I'm like, well, okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I didn't even realize it was back there. So that's always fun. So do you have any in-person events at all booked for your book?
I do not. I thought about it, and then when the Delta thing started ramping up, I was like, oh, maybe next time, maybe next year, I'll have an in-person event. But
you've got it for the paperback release. You're just gonna go all out for the paperback release.
Yes, exactly. Then I'll have a big to do. Right?
Okay. Hope loves your hedgehog mug.
Oh yeah. Me too.
I love it. You're like, so do I. Oh, speaking of hedgehogs though, check this out. I actually have a little hedgehog.
Oh my gosh, that is so
randomly cute. I have this on my desk. So
I just love hedgehogs and I have no reason to. I just think they're adorable.
I always wanted a pet hedgehog. Like, I don't know why, but probably from the age of like 12, I just wanted a pet hedgehog. And as I grew up, I went, well, that's just a difficult animal to keep track of. And like, you shouldn't ever get one of these. But I still like,
yeah, they're just so cute.
Like, I have a bad habit. At least when I was younger, we had some hamsters. I could not keep those hamsters alive. As an adult, I've had some fish. They did not make it very long. So I feel like anything smaller than a dog or cat is probably a bad idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have any pets?
Yeah, I have 4 cats actually. So I'm definitely a cat person. And a fish. I have a fish that remains safe from the cats.
Very nice. The cats are not what took my fish out. It was just me, evidently.
It happens.
Yeah, it happens. So Hope says me too. Like, do you always wanted a hedgehog as well? Because I don't know, they're adorable.
Yeah.
Briefly, I had a friend who bred hedgehogs, and I was like, that was the moment. I feel like that was my moment. And if I didn't just text her on a whim and say, give me a hedgehog, that was it. It's past now. She doesn't breed hedgehogs anymore. So that temptation is no longer there. Right? It is not there. Let's see. I'm just making sure that I went through my questions, and I totally did. So I have one last question for you though, and you can tell me about your new book. You said that you're just sort of finished.
Yeah. So I just announced it, and I'm doing edits for it right now. So
is it a YA book as well?
It is, and it has vampires.
Ooh. Okay. Is it related at all to this one?
It's not. It's technically in the same world, but it feels totally different. with Vampires, Hearts, and Other Dead Things, like I tell people, like it's paranormal, but it kind of feels like a contemporary.
It does. Yeah.
My next book feels like a fantasy with some paranormal. So it's more of the hardcore fantasy, more world building, more vampires.
More vampires. If your problem with this book is that you didn't have enough vampires, got it. Gonna fix it.
Yeah. If you want some more biting, my second book, more biting, a lot bloodier.
I love that.
It's a different vibe for sure.
I love this setup though, because it's like it like you said, it being sort of in the same world, but then getting these two different versions of that same sort of.
Yeah. So like my debut is like dipping the toe into the vampire world, and my second book is like you're in it, you're shoved in it.
Did you intend to do that, or did that just sort of like come to you later?
It just sort of happened. I actually drafted what will be my second book before I wrote Vampires, Hearts, and Other Dead Things. So what's interesting is the first time I drafted it, it was back when people were like, no vampires, like
right, vampires were so 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, like you can't have a vampire, you can't, you won't get an agent, you won't sell it. So I tried to write the book like without vampires, but at its heart, it wanted to be a vampire book. So like after I sold a vampire book, I was like, I'm going to go back and add some vampires.
Absolutely.
And like make this the undead book that it was always supposed to be. So yeah, so it just kind of worked. It just kind of worked out that it ended up being in the same world.
I don't know who those people were talking to, because we can sell vampire books down here in New Orleans every day. So like there's never, I mean, there are times when it's more popular and less popular, but there's never a time here in New Orleans where people are like, vampires, we don't want to do that. Like,
right. I feel like there was never a time when readers were actually not wanting to read vampires. It was more like publishing.
Yeah. Well, if you watch pop culture, like if you watch the TV and stuff, you'll see there'll be a period of time when there's more vampires. And I'm sure, like when Interview with the Vampire came out, then they're hot, and then they it was cooled off. But then True Blood was out, and they were really hot again, and then it cooled off. And I see that if you're only like watching the popular, top 10 or top 20 shows or whatever. But if you're feet on the ground, there's a market for vampire books and movies and TV shows and whatever. Like,
like I'll always read one. So I don't care if they're popular or not. Give it to me.
Exactly. All right, Margie, I really appreciate you joining me for Book Banter today. It was a lot of fun talking to you.
Thank you so much for having me. I had so much fun.
Absolutely. And everybody, I can see you watching. You have the comment in the comments. There's the link to pre-order Margie's book. It comes out next Tuesday. We already have some at the bookstore, so call us or go to our website, email us at Blue Cypress Books, and we will hold one of those for you. We'll order more for you. It's amazing, and you should totally read it.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.